10 days, 4 destinations. From Athens' ancient history to the mystical cliffs of Meteora to the whitewashed beauty of the Greek islands, this itinerary will help you see the very best of Greece on your first visit. Hi, I'm Lindsay from Have Clothes Will Travel. I shared a lot of detailed guides here for Athens, Santorini, Meteora, and Delphi, but today I'm putting it all together into one big itinerary for your first trip to Greece. This is a realistic 10-day plan that blends history, stunning landscapes, and a little island time. It's paced so you're not rushing from place to place every single day, and I'll also share a few learn the hard way tips so your trip runs smoother than mine did in a few spots. Here's the route I recommend for a first trip to Greece. Start in Athens for a couple days, then stop in Delphi on the way to Meteora and spend one night there, although 2 nights would be ideal if you want more time for the monasteries. Then return to Athens for a night before flying to Santorini for 3 days. Then finish back in Athens for your last night before flying home. You could also swap Santorini for another island like Naxos, Paros, or Milos if you want fewer crowds, especially in the summer. Now that you have the big picture, let's talk about the best ways to get to each stop, and we'll go into more detail about the places I just mentioned. Transportation is one of those things that can make or break how smooth your trip feels. On the mainland, you've got a few options. Renting a car gives you total flexibility, but Athens traffic can be chaotic and parking at the monasteries in Meteora can be tight. Trains are scenic and avoid the traffic, but you'll need a taxi or bus from the station to your hotel. Buses are budget friendly, but they're not exactly fast. My personal favorite for these routes is a private driver or using a small group tour, especially if you're combining Delphi and Meteora in the same trip. It's the most stress-free option, and you don't have to wedge a car into a cliffside parking spot. From Athens to the islands like Santorini, you can either fly or take a ferry. Flying is fastest, it takes about 55 minutes, but ferries are scenic and can be much cheaper. Fast ferries usually take about 4.5 hours to 5.5 hours. Slow ferries can take about 6 to 9 hours. One thing I can't stress enough, don't try to get from Meteora to Athens and then straight to the islands on the same day. When we returned from Meteora, flooding had washed out roads and it took twice as long to get back. If I'd had a flight or a ferry booked for that night, I would have missed it. It's a good idea to build in a buffer night in Athens on both the way out and back. Trust me, you'll thank yourself. Now let's get into my 10-day Greece itinerary. Day 1, in Athens, the Acropolis and ancient highlights. We're starting in Athens because it's almost impossible to visit Greece and not spend at least a little time in one of the world's oldest cities. I recommend starting your very first morning with the Acropolis. Not only is it the most famous site in Athens, but if the weather turns bad, it can actually close for the day, as we learned when rain made the marble stairs too slippery. Going early in your trip means you have wiggle room to rearrange if that happens. When you're up there, take your time. The Parthenon is the star, but don't miss the Temple of Athena Nike, the Erechtheion, the Theater of Dionysus, and the Herodion. The views over Athens are incredible too. Once you've finished exploring, it's just a short walk to the Acropolis Museum. This is one of my favorite museums in the world. It's bright, beautifully designed, and you can even see archaeological excavations under your feet through the glass floors. In the afternoon, make your way to the Temple of Olympian Zeus. Only a few columns remain, but standing next to them gives you an idea of just how massive this temple once was. From there, head to the Panathenaic Stadium where the first modern Olympics were held in 1896. For dinner, I love grabbing a table at Dionysius Zonar's where you can enjoy great food and incredible Acropolis views as it's lit up at night. Day 2, in Athens, more ancient sites or a sunset at Poseidon's temple. This morning, explore the Roman Agora and the Tower of the Winds, basically the ancient version of a weather station. Then, wander over to Hadrian's library. By lunchtime, you'll probably be near Monastraki Square, which is a great place to grab something to eat and maybe pick up a few souvenirs. In the afternoon, you've got a choice. You can stay in the city and visit the National Archaeological Museum, perfect if you want more history and air conditioning, or you can take a trip out to the Cape of Sonion to see the Temple of Poseidon. It's about an hour and a half each way from Athens, but watching the sunset over the Aegean from here is unforgettable. If you stay in Athens, you could also take a food tour or a cooking class. Both are a really fun way to spend your last evening before heading north. Day 3. Athens, Delphi, and Meteora. Leave Athens early today, around 7 a.m., and head for Delphi. This was considered the center of the ancient Greek world, where people came to seek advice from the oracle of Apollo. Walk along the sacred way, past the treasuries, and up to the temple of Apollo. If you have the energy, keep going to the theater and the stadium. Before you go, stop in the Delphi Archaeological Museum. Not only is it filled with beautiful artifacts, but it's also a nice break from the sun. Plan about 3 hours total here, then grab lunch in town. I had a great meal with mountain views at Taverna Vakos. From Delphi, it's about 4 hours to Meteora. As you get close, the landscape changes and these enormous sandstone pillars start rising up around you. It's absolutely breathtaking. Depending on your timing, either check into your hotel in Kalabaka or Kastraki, then head to Sunset Rock, or vice versa. It's a popular spot, so arrive at least a half hour before sunset to get a good view. If you're not great with heights like me though, don't worry, you can still enjoy the view without going all the way to the edge. Day 4. Meteora, the monasteries in the sky. Meteora means suspended in the air, and that's exactly how these monasteries feel. Today is all about exploring them. There are 6 active monasteries open to visitors, but only 5 will be open on any given day. Each closes for 1 day a week. My favorites are the Great Meteoron for its history and museum, Valarm for its gardens and views, and Rosenau is a peaceful nunnery that's easier to reach than some of the others. Be sure to dress modestly, shoulders and knees need to be covered, and wear good walking shoes. There are a lot of stairs here, and unfortunately it's not wheelchair accessible. Bring small bills for the €5 entry fee at each monastery. And please remember that photography inside the churches is not allowed. After a full day of exploring, have dinner in town and rest up for tomorrow's drive. Day 5. Meteora and Athens. Today, you'll make your way back to Athens. Whether you're driving, taking a train, or on a tour, it's about 4 to 5 hours. This is your buffer night before heading to the islands. Use the evening to enjoy a relaxed dinner, maybe in Plaka, and then get a good night's sleep. Day 6. Athens to Santorini. Fly to Santorini bright and early this morning. It's less than an hour in the air. Once you've checked in, I recommend starting your time here with a catamaran cruise. Most include stops at Red Beach, White Beach, the Caldera Hot Springs, and a Moody Bay. Wear a dark swimsuit for the hot springs. The minerals can stain lighter colors. Back on land, it's time for that famous Ia sunset. My favorite way to enjoy it is from a hotel terrace with a glass of wine or over dinner in a Moody Bay. The castle viewpoint is popular, but it's so crowded you can barely move. Day 7. Santorini, the Fira to Ia hike. This was my favorite day on Santorini. The Fira to Ia hike is about 6 miles and takes around 3 to 4 hours depending on your pace. The views of the caldera are stunning the entire way. Start early though to avoid the heat, and wear a hat and bring water. Afterwards, relax at your hotel pool, then head down to the Armeni restaurant for dinner. It's a small family-run fish tavern with the freshest seafood we had on the island. You can walk there from Ia, but arranging their little boat transfer from a Moody Bay is much more fun and much easier. Day 8. Santorini, Ia, plus an optional wine tour or photo shoot. Spend your last day exploring Ia. Visit the blue domes, take photos by the windmills, and do some shopping in the boutiques. For the afternoon, you could visit a winery for tastings or book one of the island's famous flying dress photo shoots like I did. Now, some alternatives to Santorini in peak season. I love Santorini, especially in shoulder season, but summer crowds can be intense. If that's a deal breaker for you, here are some great alternatives. Naxos has great beaches, fantastic food, and a more laid-back vibe. Paros has charming Cycladic villages and is a good base for exploring nearby islands. Milos is famous for its unique rock formations and hidden coves. You can swap Santorini for any of these and still follow the rest of the itinerary. Day 9. Back to Athens. Fly or ferry your way back to Athens for your final night. This makes your departure day much less stressful. Use the evening for last-minute shopping or a fancy farewell dinner. You could even try a dinner in the sky. I tried to book it for our last night, but it was already sold out. The concept looks so fun though. You're strapped into seats at a table that's lifted high above the city while you enjoy a multi-course meal with panoramic views. Definitely book well in advance though if it's on your bucket list. I'll link to the booking site in the description. Then, day 10, fly home. It's time to say goodbye to Greece, though I suspect you'll already be planning your next trip on the flight home. Now, where to stay for this Greece itinerary? In Athens, Hotel Grand Britannia. This is a luxury hotel and a great place for using Marriott Bonvoy points. They also have a beautiful pool area and an amazing rooftop restaurant with views of the Acropolis. Another great option is the Ava Hotel and Suites. These are spacious rooms on a quiet street in Plaka, plus it's an easy walk to major sites. In Meteora, there are many different options to choose from. Stay in Kalabaka for more restaurant options and Kastraki for a quieter village feel. We stayed at the Delos Boutique Hotel in Kastraki and loved it. In Santorini, the Ikes Santorini in Ia is our favorite hotel. It's boutique, romantic, and it has the best sunset views without the crowds. That's my 10-day Greece itinerary. If you want more detail on any of these stops, check out my dedicated guides for Athens, Delphi, Meteora, and Santorini. I'll link them in the description. And let me know in the comments which part of Greece you are most excited to see. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more travel content like this.